Hello class, it's me again, your favorite teacher. This is American English File, 2nd edition, Book 2, Student Book, Part 12a. Strange, but true. It's pedal to the metal. Now, everyone, look at the pictures, breaking news, Elon Musk and Twitter, right? I have some questions for you. How often do you watch the news? Do you read newspapers? Why or why not? What type of news are you interested in? For example, sports news, politics. What type? Are news important? Can news affect your life? In what way? Where do you watch the news? Which channel or media? Do you trust mainstream media? Do you trust and believe the information online? Do you believe in propaganda and media control? Important questions. And why do rich people buy news and social media platforms? All right, as always, you can add your own questions. Take your time, answer the questions one by one. Very good. Now I need you to speak with your friends. Share your ideas, compare your answers, share your experiences. Speak. Part 1. Reading and speaking. News around the world. Here's our selection of last week's true stories. Everyone, I need you to read their stories and look at the pictures. Fill in the blanks with one of the sentences below. For example, for Australia, we have 2 sentences. And for England, again, we have 2 sentences. And these are the blanks. Fill in the blanks with one of the sentences for each place. Take your time.
A few moments later.
Very good. Now let's check it together. In Sydney, early in the morning, some swimmers were taking a swim in an outdoor swimming pool that was very close to the ocean. The swimmers were very surprised when suddenly the pool assistant started shouting, "Get out of the water, quickly!" The swimmers immediately got out. Then they realized that there was a shark at the other end. All right, so which sentence is suitable? Yes, number 2. A large wave had carried the shark into the pool during the night. Fortunately, none of the swimmers were hurt, and the shark was caught in a net and put back into the ocean. Interesting. Now it's time for England. Security guards at Stansted Airport were amazed when they saw a dog getting off a train and walking on its own toward the airport terminal. They caught the dog and took it to the police. Thanks to a microchip in its neck, they discovered that its name was Diesel and that it belonged to a woman named Sarah Chapman, who lived in London, 31 miles away. Sarah had gone on vacation for a few days and had left Diesel with some friends. All right, which sentence is suitable? Number 4. The dog had run away and had gone to the local train station. It had then gotten on a train and had traveled 31 miles to Stansted Airport, changing trains on the way. Sarah said, "I'm sure Diesel went to airport to look for me." Interesting. But we're not done. We have 2 more stories. Let's go. The US and Sweden. And for each story, we have 2 sentences. Again, take your time, do it yourself, read the stories, and choose the right sentence.
A few minutes later.
All right, now let's read it together. The US, 33-year-old Providence, Rhode Island man was arrested for knocking out the driver of an armored car and taking 4 bags of money. What is the sentence? 5. The robber thought he had taken bags worth a lot of money. However, each of the bags contained only $800 in pennies. The money bags each weighed 30 pounds, and they slowed the man down as he tried to get away. When police officers arrived at the scene, they chased the robber down the street and easily caught him with the heavy money bags. Unlucky. Sweden. Airport workers in the luggage area at Arlanda Airport in Sweden were surprised to see an old lady sitting on the luggage belt next to her suitcase. Oh, nice. Number 7. The woman had gotten confused at the check-in desk. She had put her luggage on the belt and then had sat down on the belt herself. A spokesman at Stockholm's Arlanda airport said unfortunately she didn't understand when she was given check-in instructions. She got on the belt together with her bag. Luckily, it wasn't a long ride, only a few feet. Funny, but true. All right, everyone, I need you to match the verbs 1 to 10 with phrases A to J. For example, get into or get out of, H, the swimming pool, right? Just like that. Stop the video, take your time, do it. Match the verbs with the phrases. Very good. Check your answers with your friends. Now let's do it together. Get on or get off, F, a train. Knock someone, E, out. Realize, J, there was a shark in the pool. Put the luggage, A, on the belt. Go on, C, a vacation. Take, B, a swim. Very good. Leave the dog, L, with friends. Chase someone, D, down the street. And belong to, G, a woman. And as always, you never cease to amaze me. Part 2, grammar. Past perfect. This is the tricky one. Everyone, look at these highlighted verbs from the Australia story. Remember that? The shark in the pool. Answer the questions. A. Then they realized that there was a shark at the other end. A large wave had carried the shark into the pool during the night. So, number 1, which action happened first, A or B? Can you tell me? Of course, B. The wave carried the shark into the swimming pool, and in the morning when they were swimming, they realized that there was a shark, at the other end. And what are the 2 parts of the verb in sentence B? All right, the parts. Had, carried. So had plus the past participle equals the past perfect. Now, what is past perfect? Do you have any idea? Everyone, listen.
5.17.
When I woke up, the yard was all white. It had snowed during the night.
I suddenly realized that I'd left my cell phone in the taxi.
We got home just in time. The game hadn't started.
When she got to class, she realized that she hadn't brought her book.
I went to New York City last weekend. I really loved it.
Had you been there before?
No, I hadn't.
Good. Now, everyone, use the past perfect when you are already talking about the past and you want to talk about an earlier past action. For example, when I woke up, the yard was all white. It had snowed during the night. So it snowed before I woke up. I like to call this one past. You're talking in the past, all right? I woke up, an action that happened in the past, but the yard was all white. It had snowed the night before. Yeah? So I'm talking in the past, and something happened before the past that I'm talking about. So I call it past. That way I don't forget. And that is called past perfect. Now make past perfect with had or hadn't plus the past participle. The form of the past participle is the same for all persons. It doesn't change for he, she, it. Had is sometimes contracted to apostrophe D. All right, now look at these two. Had or would, which one? Be careful. Apostrophe D can be had or would. For example, I didn't know that you had found a new job. So apostrophe D here is had. If you went by taxi, you'd get there more quickly. In here, it's would. So there are slight differences. Be careful. Now, as always, let's practice together. But it's easy for you. You're very smart. Just remember, past, past. All right, we have two exercises. A, match the sentence halves. For example, I couldn't get into my house because C, I'd lost my keys. Yeah, past, past. And part B, complete the sentences. Put the verbs in the simple past and past perfect. So we have two tenses. Very good. Take your time, stop the video, and do it yourself. No help from anyone. Very good. Now check your answers with your friends. Put your heads together. Very good. Now let's do it together. Number one, when our friends arrived, G, we hadn't finished cooking the dinner. Number two, I took the jacket back because D, I had bought the wrong size. Number three, Jill didn't come with us because A, she'd made other plans. Number four, I turned on the TV news, F, to see what had happened. Number five, Fumiko was nervous because E, it was the first time she had flown. And the last one, when I got to the supermarket checkout, B, I realized that I'd left my wallet at home. Very good. Now exercise B. We didn't get a table in the restaurant because we hadn't made a reservation. All right, this is the sample answer. Now, number one, I didn't recognize Sonia because she had changed a lot. Number two, my friend called to tell me that I had left my wallet in his car. Number three, when I turned on the radio, the news had already finished. Number four, she didn't lend me the DVD because she hadn't watched it yet. Number five, the store had closed by the time we arrived. Number six, when we got home, we saw that somebody had broken the kitchen window. And the last one, luckily, it had stopped snowing when we left work. And as always,
Outstanding.
well, I'm glad. Now you know what past perfect is. But can you use it? Let's put it to test. Complete the following sentences in your own words. Use the past perfect. All right, these are my answers. When I got to the check-in desk, I suddenly realized that I'd left my passport at home. When we arrived back from our vacation, we found that all our plans had died. When the movie started, I realized immediately that I'd already seen it. I couldn't answer any of the exam questions because I hadn't studied. And we spent 20 minutes in the parking lot looking for the car because we couldn't remember where we had parked. Yeah? So you write your answers in your own words. Very good. Now I need you to compare your answers with your friends. This is on you. Part 3. Pronunciation. Contractions. Had and hadn't. Contractions. Past perfect. Everyone in conversation, we often contract had in the past perfect after a subject pronoun, I, you, etc. For example, when I got to the airport, I realized that I'd forgotten my passport. I suddenly remembered that we hadn't told Sue about the party. So that is called contraction. All right. Now I need you to listen and write 6 past perfect sentences. Take your time.
5.18. 1.
I didn't know that she'd lost her job.
2.
I remembered that I'd seen the movie before.
3,
He failed his exam because he hadn't studied.
4,
I'd left my phone at home, so I couldn't call you.
5,
When he arrived, we hadn't finished our dinner.
6,
When we came out of the movie theater, it had stopped raining.
All good. Now, these are the answers. Easy, right? I told you. And all the way to part 4, listening. Everyone, listen to another news story. Then number the events in order. So there is an order. You have to number them. Do it.
5.19,
And finally, on News Today, here's a funny story to cheer you up on a Monday morning. On Saturday night, Katie Parfit, a nurse at a local hospital, came home from work. As soon as she opened the door, she realized that her cat Joey was behaving rather strangely. Instead of being happy to see her, he started attacking her. And then, when she sat down to have something to eat, Joey jumped onto the table and sat on her plate. Then he jumped down onto the floor and immediately went to sleep. He slept all night, snoring very loudly. Katie couldn't understand what the matter was with Joey. He had never behaved like this before. However, when she met her neighbor the next morning, the mystery was solved.
Okay, now check your answers with your friends. Very good. Now this is the order. Katie came home from work. Joey attacked her. Joey sat on her plate. And Joey went to sleep. And Katie met her neighbor. Very good. Now try to guess what you think had happened. Right? Do you have any idea? Write down your ideas. Very good. I need you to listen and find out what had happened. Had anybody guessed it right? Let's see.
5.20,
My neighbor told me that he was having dinner at a cafe on Saturday. Suddenly, he saw my cat Joey walk in through the door. It was open because it was a hot day. And then one of the people spilled his drink on the floor, and Joey started drinking it. He was probably thirsty. So, of course, when Joey got home, he was completely drunk. I took him to the vet the next day, but luckily he's fine now.
So, can you tell me what had happened? Of course. So, my neighbor told me that he was having dinner at a cafe on Saturday. Suddenly, he saw my cat Joey walk in through the door. It was open because it was a hot day, and then one of the people spilled his drink on the floor, and Joey started drinking it. He was probably thirsty, so of course, when Joey got home, he was completely drunk, a drunk cat. I took him to the vet the next day, but luckily, he's fine now. What a coincidence, right? And another session done. You see, I kept my promise. I teach you every day. But did you keep your promise? Do you study every day? Yeah. Show me what you got. Bye-bye.